Hey YouTube, gonna talk about Wild Man here. Gonna talk about the war in Afghanistan, Trump's speeches. Charlottesville turned into a disaster because the mainstream media lied and continued to try to railroad what Trump said and try to make him sound like a bigot because he said there was violence on all sides. And Trump never did publicly dare to come out and say that Antifa was the moral equivalent of Nazis. But I'm willing to say it. Antifa is the moral equivalent of Nazis and worse. Now that being said, that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about Trump's speech about Afghanistan. We almost all of us of Trump supporters, except for the neocons and the ordinary Republicans, are not for war. We're anti-war. Not because we don't believe in defending ourselves, because we believe that the United States no longer knows how to win a war. It's the only reason we ever go to war anymore. One reason we've gone to war since Vietnam, and maybe even Vietnam, but ever since Vietnam. All the Iraq wars were just about money. About making money for the military-industrial complex. And we don't want wars to make other people rich. We never accomplish anything, ever. Not one of our wars has accomplished a damn thing. Nothing. They brought peace for maybe a month or two, as long as we had people on the ground. As soon as you pull out, it was over. And now Trump, the generals, and we knew this was going to happen. We saw it build. That's why they got rid of Bannon. That's why they had the big meeting at Camp David. I knew they were getting to him. And I have, I didn't know anything about General Mattis until I heard that Trump was possibly going to appoint him. And people were bragging. Sticks was one of the big ones. Sticks, Hexenhammer. Oh, Mattis is this bad guy. He's a bad dude, man. Everyone's afraid of him. And anyway, but after listening to Mattis speak once or twice, I immediately got a sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach that he was a neocon. That he was a George Bush general. Go to war in Iraq general. And stuff that he said just didn't make sense. He's not a big muscular type military man. I listened to him say, "Me nervous? No, I make other people nervous. I make them worry. I don't lose any sleep." Just weird off the wall statements that made him sound arrogant and just didn't make him sound like a general. And since then I've heard people accuse him of just being basically being a pseudo-intellect. He reads books and talks a lot, Builds a reputation based around nothing. Well, I don't know everything about Mattis, but McMasters also. McMasters, we know that McMasters, and now John Kelly. John Kelly supported Trump through his campaign, but I've always been suspicious of these generals. These generals have been too many years under neocon rule. And most of them, if they were real generals, Robert E. Lee, or even MacArthur or Patton style generals, you know what happened to most of those generals. They're all demonized now. Patton was fired or had a lot of bad stuff happen. MacArthur was fired. General Lee, now everyone wants to tear down his monument and call him a vicious bigot, which isn't true. But these were real generals who knew how to win wars. All three of those generals and more, but they all knew how to win wars. And now we have these pseudo-intellectual generals who have never really fought a war. They go over there and are total under the thumb of a warmongering, idiotic government that has no plan, and they learn politics. They learn politics, they learn how to brown nose to get to the top. They don't know anything about fighting, basically. And the ones that do are probably all fired, like General Flynn. Flynn's probably the best general we'd have. At least the guy's got a sane head. He's not. But I'm rambling. But going back to the fact that the generals convinced Trump that we've lost too many lives in Afghanistan. Trump said, "My gut says pull out." But we've lost so many lives there. It's different when I'm sitting in office. The generals convinced him that if we pull out, it's all for nothing. Do you think they care about that? Who cares? It's all for nothing. Nothing's being accomplished, and even if what are we going to accomplish there? Trump said we're not going to nation build. What are we going to do, kill all the terrorists? Well, then start dropping nukes on them or something, because that's ridiculous. But anyway, The generals want a war. They're obviously working for the military-industrial complex. That's what the generals are working for. And Trump went to military school when he was young, and he has high respect for the military. I would call it almost to the point of military worship. He's always talking about the military, about the people who served. He's putting them on a pedestal, way higher than they deserve to be. Way higher. It's not that we don't recognize military people and take care of them. I'm totally for that. But they aren't gods. Okay? The generals aren't either. Trump looks up to them way too much. He puts them on a pedestal and listens to them. He listens to them talk about war and thinks, well, these are the best. I hired the best. He is being manipulated and lied to. Those three generals, I have no confidence in them. It just came out in several different publications today, Politico and some others, that General Kelly is trying to keep all alternative media off of Trump's desk. He's trying to block Trump from reading alternative media. That right there tells you who Kelly is. That means that Kelly believes the mainstream media over alternative media. And anyone that can critically think, that has an IQ above 5 or 20, knows that the mainstream media is a lie, or isn't totally just brainwashed, knows that the mainstream media lies about everything, and that the alternative media is way more accurate and way more objective than the mainstream media. So that tells you who Kelly is. Kelly doesn't want Trump reading alternative media because he still believes the New York Times and CNN. I'm sure he has investments. I'm sure he has pressure on him from people who want the war going on. What makes me mad, am I mad at Trump? Yeah, I'm mad at Trump. But what makes me really mad is people who act like Trump did this on purpose. That Trump was the whole time planning to betray us. And that now Trump is still plotting to be a globalist and on their side. There's no way that's true. That's absolutely false. Trump got suckered. All of us are guilty sometimes of believing something that's not true. It can happen to any one of us. We can be convinced of a lie if people tell it to us and we don't have the right information. That's what happened to Trump. He doesn't have the right information. He's being manipulated. He's being lied to, and he believes it's truth. He is not trying to intentionally sabotage our country or wanting to be a globalist or a warmonger. Absolutely not. That's not who Trump is. But he is being influenced by negative forces. And we have to hold him personally accountable to an extent, but don't make him out to be something he's not. Don't make him out to be an evil person intentionally planning to work with the globalists. That is not true. These generals have been lying. These generals have got to go. You know, Mattis is the least of my concerns, but he should go too. But Kelly and McMasters, those two are shysters and enemies of the people. I want them out, and every person who supports Trump or doesn't, who just loves a free America, wants them out, whether they know it or not. You want them out because they are working against us. These two generals are not fit to lead a kindergarten parade, much less a military. They're neocons, they're globalists, they're warmongers, and they aren't even intelligent. Neither one of them probably has an IQ above 90. And these are not the type of people. They got into power because they were brown-nosers, because they kissed butt. That's why they got into power. Not because they knew anything about war. Come on, hit like and subscribe. Peace. And argue with me.